welcome to the Rocks and Roots podcast. Tumbles here, and Crank and I have an extra special episode with none other than Kyle O'Grady's hiking partner in crime, Flossy. Now, I will take full blame for not dropping the episode on Wednesday. That is usually our drop date. It's going to drop on Thursday. Apologies to all of our listeners. Flossy is a fascinating guy. He really had no experience doing overnight backpacking trips until he got onto the AT. Now, for us, we believe in kind of shakedown hikes and overnights and, just getting ourselves physically and mentally prepared. Flossy just went out there. And I know a lot of people do that when they get onto their first long distance trail, but it always fascinates me and it always impresses the shit out of me. So well done, Flossy. Flossy is also an ultra runner, and we get to hear about that. And he just talks about his preparation for the PCT himself. So, without further ado, all of our plugs are in the description, as well as Flossy's social media. So go follow him. Awesome guy. And Floss, good luck on the Pacific Crest Trail with Kyle. And without further ado, here's the episode. All right, Flossy, welcome to the Rocks and Roots podcast. How are you this evening?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We are fantastic. It is a beautiful day down here in New Jersey.
It is a beautiful day here in Vermont as well.
Did you guys get snow?
Yeah, we actually did get some snow. I think we got like 3 or 4 inches, honestly, yesterday. But all that snow has gone away now.
Yeah, thank God. I mean, hello,
yeah.
April. I know the Adirondacks got nearly 2 feet. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, the
Wow.
high peaks got about 2 feet.
I know, it was very, very unexpected.
Yeah, ridiculous. Anyway, it's about you tonight, Flossy. So yes, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Sure.
So in our intro, we mentioned 2018 Appalachian Trail thru hiker, Northville to Placid Trail, Foothills Trail. You've done an ultra marathon, and soon you are embarking on the PCT. Did we miss anything from your hiking resume?
No, that sounds about right, but I actually am about to add one more thing to the resume. I'm actually in the middle of a challenge right now.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the 4x4x48 challenge.
Is that Yeti? Does Yeti put that on?
Do you know who David Goggins is?
Oh,
yes. So
yes, David Goggins created this challenge.
So it must be completely insane. So please elaborate.
So the 4x4x48, basically you have to hike 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. Now, you can take like cat nap, so you can sleep, but just as long as you can get those 4 miles in within the 4 hours. So there are 12 legs of the challenge. You split it up into like 12, I call them 12 legs. And at the moment, I am actually on the 10th. I just did my 10th leg. So I'm running off just little to no sleep. So this should be pretty interesting podcast.
Wow.
Fumes and adrenaline. That is absolutely fucking fantastic. And we did something similar. What was ours, Tumbles? And I didn't make it. So
that was what we did was through Yeti runs.
Yes.
It was it 4 miles? I think it was 4 miles every 4 hours in 24 hours. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a shorter version.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I hated the night. Oh, I was miserable.
On legs like 6 and 7, they just kicked my ass, honestly, because I had one, this was like this was last night. I had a leg that was at midnight and a leg that was at 4 a.m. And I was trying to take like naps in between, and it was so difficult to get out of bed. And we had just gotten that snow too, so it was pretty cold. So it was pretty tough to get through those legs, but I'm pretty glad. Yeah, I did. I've got 2 legs to go, so I'm pretty stoked. So 8 miles left.
What does your route look like? Are you working hills in there? Is it
are you running
flat?
or are you just walking?
Running, yeah. How are you doing this?
So originally, I wanted to make it even more of a challenge. I wanted to do a different. I didn't want to do the same route twice. I wanted to do a different route for every leg, but it didn't work out that way. Just for convenience sake, honestly, on the for the midnight and the 4 a.m. legs, I've kind of just been doing the same route that's close to my house so I can get a little bit more sleep.
Yeah.
Right.
But I've been alternating between running and hiking. So I've just been running like on the roads, and then I've been also hitting some trails, and that's when I'll just do hiking. But yeah, there's some elevation in there.
Oh, good for you, dude. I mean, when is your next round start?
At 8 o'clock.
All right. No wonder you wanted to change. No worries about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I should.
We'll be sure to get you out of here so you can at least get 10 minutes of sleep.
Hey, that's no problem. I don't plan on sleeping. I'm actually currently drinking a cup of coffee right now, so I don't plan on sleeping till the end of it, till it's done. So
excellent. All right. Well, we'll be rooting you on.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. So I guess before any other question, how did you get your name Flossy?
So at the beginning of the Appalachian Trail, I was hiking with this girl, Courtney, and we were hiking together for a while, and I'd always get to camp before her. My pace was a little bit faster, but it happened like 3 or 4 times. She'd roll into camp and I'd be flossing my teeth. And she was like, you know what? I'm just going to call you Flossy. And she was like, I like the way you dress. You got floss. So I'm going to call you Flossy. And at first, at first I was like, I don't know if that's going to be my trail name, but then I sat with it for like a week or so. And I was like, you know what? I'm Flossy now. So
I like it.
Once I told my mom my trail name was Flossy, then it was set in stone.
Bless her. I mean, is having floss is something? This slang, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
Frank, have you heard this stuff?
It's like swag, swag, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Floss.
I'm gonna start to use that now.
It's also a dance too, flossing. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
That's what we were thinking, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, cool.
Okay.
All right, so let's go back in time before the floss. How did you get into hiking?
Well, I was, so I grew up in Maine, and I was 12 years old, and my dad and some of his buddies invited me on a hike, and it was in Baxter State Park in Maine.
That'll do it.
And it was Owl Mountain. And actually, this was the first time I had ever seen Mount Katahdin. So for those of you who don't know, Mount Katahdin is the tallest mountain in Maine, and it is also the northern terminus of the Appalachian Trail. So yeah, it was pretty cool kind of seeing Katahdin for the first time from Owl, and I just really enjoyed the experience, and I was invited on more hikes. Just day hikes.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to be my next question. So thank you for staying ahead. All right. Yeah, I could definitely see how you would get hooked if Baxter State Park is your first hiking experience. That is fantastic.
Yeah, I fell in love with it for sure. I love the area.
And then was the AT your first long hike, or had you done other through hike-ish things prior to that?
The Appalachian Trail was my first long hike, and it was actually the first night out there was my first ever backpacking trip. So I had not backpacked a day in my life before I got out there.
Good for you.
That's amazing. 2018 seems to have been the year for that. Liz Kidder did the same thing, AT through hike, first long hike, first backpacking. So all you awesome YouTubers ended up doing like the same thing that year. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I feel like I was just a little bit naive at the time. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But yeah, I mean, I completed it, so something worked out.
Yeah, did you have any running experience back then?
No.
No.
I actually haven't. I didn't start running until about 2 years ago, like when I moved to Vermont.
Wow, good for you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you have an ultra marathon already under your belt.
I do. I fell in love with trail running. That
Yeah, I don't blame you.
That's what started it all.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, I remember Kyle was saying you guys were really hitting the miles towards the end of the trail too. So you had that behind you as well.
Towards the
End of your AT hike.
Yeah. We were doing some big days in the 100-mile wilderness for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We were pulling. I don't think we did any under 20, maybe one day under 20, but yeah, we were doing big days. It was the 100-mile wilderness was beautiful, but it was also super humbling and super tough.
I bet. Are you guys in agreement about Maine being the sort of kind of the worst state just because of your mental state, not just because
I think it's kind of biased because I'm from Maine.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But I love Maine because it's my home for one, and I was looking forward to summiting Katahdin with my dad. But no, Maine was probably the toughest state out of all of them, I would say.
All right.
Is that because of its terrain, or because at that point you've got about 2,000 miles under you and you're exhausted, or both?
I believe it probably is both. You know, you're kind of at that point you kind of want the trail to be over with, but at the same time it's like you've made so many great memories out there and you don't want it to end. It's really bittersweet. And I think it was just a combination of, yes, having like 2,000 miles behind us, and we kind of had some crappy weather. It rained a lot in the 100-mile wilderness.
That was a very rainy year. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was definitely some flooding, especially in Pennsylvania. But yeah, I would say it's a combination of both. The terrain and just the weather and just that it was the end of the trail. So you're kind of getting burnt out.
Understandable. I mean, for anybody, really. Even though you just love every second of it, your body's just done.
Yeah, exactly. And it was getting cold too. That was another thing.
I was going to ask, when did you guys finish?
We finished on October 1st, and I started April 15th.
Okay. All right.
So it took me about, I think it was 161 days, like 5.5 months. So I finished about a month longer than it took Kyle to finish because he started in May.
Right.
Okay. And then we asked Kyle the same question, but where did you guys meet? How did that happen? As we know, the rest is history, but give us the origin story.
We're making sure you guys,
sync up.
Well,
verifications.
So I had taken a 0 in a town called Buena Vista in Virginia. The reason I took a 0 is because it was July 4th, but the next day I got dropped off at the trailhead and I see this guy hiking across the road towards me with his shirt off. It wasn't Kyle. It was another friend of ours, Mullet Mike.
Yes.
Is his trail name. And so I was kind of hiking with Mullet Mike, and we were exchanging stories. He was telling me about Kyle, and he thought we would get along good. And so it was getting towards the end of the day, and it was pouring rain. I'll never forget the last mile. I just booked it to the shelter. I was running, and at this point I was ahead of Mullet Mike. But when I got to the shelter, lo and behold, there was Kyle sitting in it. And we just kind of started talking, and we all hit it off. And when, we were all around like the same age, had, similar interests, and we just got along really well. You could tell we clicked. Like right off the bat. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I noticed that they had a faster pace than I did, which was kind of really discouraging because I really wanted to keep up with them and stay with these guys, try and finish the trail out with them, which is tough when you're just in Virginia and you've got to make it to Maine.
Yeah.
I sort of had an injury that was like hindering me. And so it was just kind of discouraging, but we ended up, I guess you could say, as a group hiking together every day around Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania, is when we actually all stuck together. Mm-hmm. But there were points of the trail where they were ahead of me, and it was just a game of catch up for me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we met.
That's awesome.
And
Boiling Springs.
Yeah, Boiling Springs. Oh, memories for us.
Yes. It's a great trail town.
Oh, yeah, it is, for sure.
And then as you're going north, you just go right into the Cumberland Valley, so it's such smooth sailing.
Yeah, I remember it was raining a lot, like basically through all of Pennsylvania. That, like you said, that was a very rainy year.
Yeah.
On the Appalachian Trail. I think I got rained on a stretch in like the Tennessee, North Carolina area. I got rained on for 9 days straight.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
That hardens anybody. I mean, that's almost quitting time if that had continued.
I was going to say, God bless you for continuing.
Yeah, trust me, there were many times I thought about throwing the towel in, but I stuck it out. I just kind of always had the vision of summiting Katahdin with my dad, like in the front of my mind, and that's really what pushed me and motivated me. And when you go on a through hike, I mean, you sacrifice so much, like for most people, you have to quit your job, you save so much money, like you have to travel out there. And so that was also what drove me to
keep going.
Yeah, that's actually a question that I don't think either of us, Crank, had ever asked any of our folks that have come on. Was there a breaking point where you said, if this does not stop or if I don't get better, that's it?
There were actually a couple of those. They were in the beginning. I can tell you a story. So in Georgia, I believe it was called Blue Mountain Shelter. I believe I've told this story before, but it's a pretty good story. Or a bad story, however you. It seems like all the bad stories out there eventually turn into good stories when you're telling them. But,
absolutely.
But so I was in Georgia, Blue Mountain Shelter. I think it was up at like 4,000 feet, something like that. But I was staying in the shelter that night with another guy, and it was pouring rain, very cold rain, and the wind was just blowing. Like it had to have been like 50 mile an hour winds that was blowing the rain directly into the shelter. So I was bundled up in like literally all my clothes, and honestly I don't think I had the proper quilt. I don't even know what it was rated to, but it was like 50 degrees or something like that. So I didn't get any sleep that night, and I was like shivering the entire night. But the guy next to me, he must have gotten norovirus or something like that the entire night.
Oh, my God.
He was throwing up profusely, like out of the shelter. And I was in my sleeping bag thinking, you know what? Like, I've got it bad right now, but this guy next to me just has it so much worse. And
perspective.
And it was even so bad that there were people in their hammocks, hung up in their hammocks outside of the shelter. And when I woke up in the morning, like, they were nowhere to be found. Like the hammocks were empty, just swinging from the tree. Some guy had left his pack in the shelter and said he was going to hike down. His brother was going to pick him up and he'd come get his gear like another day. It was that bad.
Oh, man.
And so I'm making my way down the mountain. Basically, it was still like very windy and rainy. And I was kind of getting blown over a little bit by the wind. But when I made it down to the gap, I just thought to myself, you know, I don't know. I just don't know if I want to continue. And so I called my mom, and she kind of, even though she was worried about me being out there, she encouraged me to stay out. And she said, get into town, get something to eat, get a hotel room, you know, and then wake up the next day and make your decision.
That's a good mom.
Yeah, no Mama Flossy.
No. And so, yeah, that was one of the times I thought about throwing in the towel. And that was very early on. Like, that was, I want to say 50 or 60 miles in, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you were almost done with Georgia at that point.
Yeah, so that was one of the times I thought about quitting, but I'm glad I decided not to.
It's one of those things where if you did, that would alter your history so much. And looking back,
alternate timeline out there.
That's right.
Flossy never met Kyle.
Never would have moved. Never. Yeah.
Exactly. No. Yeah. Things happen for a reason, for sure.
That's right.
But and then there was another time in Virginia, around the 700-mile mark. It was around McAfee Knob. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that area. It was just, you know, they call it the Virginia Blues. I was kind of by myself. It was it was really lonely, and it was pretty hot. And I don't know, I was just felt down and out. And again, I had another conversation with my mom. And I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. And I decided to keep on going. So I think those are really the only two times I thought about quitting. But then once I clicked up with like Kyle and Mullet Mike and another one of our buddies, Indy, and it was smooth sailing. I was in for the long haul. We were having fun at that point, and I feel like it took some of the worry off my mom as well. that I was with a group. And
well, so, I think we need to have Mama Flossy on the show.
Yes.
That's great, though.
Yeah, shout out to her.
Yeah, just doing that alone has got to be brutal mentally.
It
depends on the person, though, too.
Honestly, I went out there to meet people, you know, you find yourself, I guess you can say, in the real world, constantly like on your phone and distracted by other things that don't really matter. So I was kind of looking for a way to get out there and meet new people and, you know, kind of live like a more spontaneous lifestyle, I guess you could say. You know, you're going to sleep in a different place every night, and then you know, you're waking up in a different place. You're seeing all these.
There's constant newness, even though it's the same trail. Wow, exactly. That was brutal, Cranky. Constant newness.
No, I got you. Yeah, no, for sure. You're 100% right.
So let's transition, shall we?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
All right, see, we've been friends for too long.
We're on the same wavelength. So let's talk about the PCT and the prep. So Kyle told us that you are probably in the best shape of your life. You're like Captain America right now. As you know, we mentioned you're doing this 4 miles every 4 hours, so that's a testament to your physical ability at the moment. What else are you doing for training?
I've really just been running and hiking. I've only been on one backpacking trip so far with Kyle, just to kind of test out our new gear. But I would say that when I'm out there hiking, I also try to prepare mentally, because when I'm out there hiking, like I'm constantly thinking about the PCT. So when I'm out there mentally, I'm just kind of putting myself in scenarios like in my head while I'm training about, what am I going to do if we run into a fire closure?
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do if I encounter a dangerous animal? What am I going to do if I encounter bad weather? And, the experience from the Appalachian Trail has, I know sort of how to adapt in some of those situations, but also I've been out west, but I've never hiked out west. And this is just going to be a completely new experience for me. So, I think physically I'm there. You can only do so much mentally until you're actually out there.
Yeah.
I feel like, you can prepare physically for it, but the mental aspect is something that you have to encounter when you're actually out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know what situation you might be put in, and you might not even know what to do until you're put in that situation. So, the mental part of it is the hardest part to train for sure.
That's like 80% of a hike is mental.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's something that I definitely need to work on as well. Crank is darn good at that stuff, I gotta tell you.
I could go right now.
That's it.
Hell yeah, Cranky.
But it's facing the unknown.
Exactly.
And once you get into it, even your first night, each step you take, there's a little bit less unknown, and that I'm sure will improve, and whatever nervousness, whatever mental stuff you're dealing with right now will dissipate very rapidly.
Like the first step, I think you guys will be fine.
Yeah, the anxiety and the nervousness turns into like your routine, you just get used to it while you're out there.
Now, you start in Campo. That's the southern terminus, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I hear both for the PCT and the CDT that getting to these southern terminuses are kind of a challenge. So how are you guys doing this?
Well, we got lucky, and actually one of our friends just moved to San Diego. So it's actually somebody Kyle went to high school with. And
That's
so
great.
he just moved to San Diego, which that's where we'll be flying into. And so we got really lucky with that. And he'll be driving us to the start of the trail.
That's
So,
awesome.
great.
Well
Yeah,
done.
no, it is awesome.
Great. Oh, that takes away so much anxiety.
No, it does. It's funny how things work out like that.
Yeah, I know that there are buses, like you could take a bus and then a taxi and an Uber and this and that. You could walk there. I mean, there's just so many ways. And the CDT's worse because it's a lot more remote.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it would have been a hassle and a pain to try and get shuttles and stuff. And, we've had other people reach out too to try and help us. So I didn't think it was ever going to come to taking a shuttle to the start of the trail, or, worrying about where you're going to stay the night before, because Kyle's got some great fans who are just willing to help. And it's really cool, the fan base he's created. So
yeah, everyone kind of becomes family. I mean, you found that probably hiking the AT. I mean, you created your family from the AT.
Exactly. That's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
Out there, just to see the generosity and the kindness from people. PCT will be, trail magic, water caches, all of that. Just, what goes on behind the scenes. And, it's really just awesome what the Trail Angels do for hikers. I hope to one day be able to return the favor. So.
I'm sure you guys absolutely will.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be your first experience, I know you said you went out west. but this is going to be your first extensive experience in the desert. What are you doing for your fragile New England skin?
Oh man, I don't even know how to prepare for the desert until I'm out there. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not a stranger to the heat because I did live in Georgia for 4 years, and the humidity is just insane down there.
Yes, it is.
And I worked for like a moving company down there, so I was doing physical labor in that heat.
Mm-hmm.
I really, to tell you the truth, I don't know the best way to kind of get myself ready for the desert. It's just going to be, and it kind of sucks because, it's 700 miles of the trail.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I guess, bring your sunscreen and drink more than you think you need to.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Even though that dry heat is there, it's true about the dry heat. Everyone says dry heat. It's so bloody true. And you don't realize how dehydrated you are after a while.
Yeah, the sunscreen is definitely a must. It's gonna be tough to get into the practice of putting that on every day, but you've got to do it. And also, electrolytes. Going to be using a lot of
Elements.
Elements.
Plugging element.
Yeah, definitely a lot of electrolyte mix. And yeah, I think I'll have 6 liters of water capacity.
Okay.
I don't want to carry that per se, but if it comes down to it and I absolutely need to, then yes, I will. And also the backpacking trip we just went on recently, I kind of loaded up on the water to try and get myself used to the carry of it. I think I was carrying 4 liters. Yeah, 4 liters on the last backpacking trip we went on. So
what does that bring your weight up to?
Kyle geeks out on gear more than I do.
Okay.
I honestly don't even know my base weight. If I were to guess, Kyle and I have similar gear. So I think he said his base weight is 10 pounds or somewhere around there.
Damn.
So if I had to guess, mine's probably around that too.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Kyle goes all out with he geeks about the gear. He's got spreadsheets and everything, how much everything weighs, and I don't know. I don't geek out over it as much as he does. Well, but I do know my pack's light. Right. That's what I can tell you.
Well, it's interesting. It just shows the different mentality between you both. You guys work very well together. So he's more graph oriented. So what do you geek out on?
The physical aspect, the challenge of it.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's more of, I feel like, I like going out there and pushing myself. Like, I think Kyle said it, like, he's going to have to really slow me down the first week or two because I know I'm going to be so stoked to be out there and just, I don't know. I geek out on challenging myself, obviously, with the ultra marathons I've done and this challenge I'm doing now. But no, Kyle's more of the logistics, the planner, that's his strong suit. He likes to challenge himself as well, obviously, or we wouldn't both be doing this.
Right.
But that's a big reason I'm out there, just to see what I've got, what's in me, how far I can push myself. So yeah, that's what I geek out on for sure.
Perfect. Yeah, you guys seem to be a fantastic pair and complement each other well.
Well, we don't take it too seriously, as you can see in the videos, like we're out there to have fun and fool around and it is like even though you're putting in a lot of work, it is a vacation, so you got to have fun with it.
Yes, and I think a lot of people forget that too.
We are disappointed whenever we roll up to a shelter and it's already occupied, because that means we can't be obnoxious and silly and stupid as much as we would like. It always works out. We met some wonderful people on our last hike, but whenever we roll up to a shelter and there's people that were like, damn, we have to actually be
civilized.
Talk to people. I don't want to talk to people right now.
Yeah, we're out here to not talk to people. So
yeah, you guys seem cool. We would definitely get along out there on trail.
well, thank you.
Yes, we'll go out there. We'll meet y'all out there. Depending on where you guys are.
I was just gonna say we are gonna be out there in August.
Yes, yeah, depend. You'll probably be up
They'll be past
north
us, I think.
of Tahoe at that point. Yeah.
Cool. Where are you guys going?
Yosemite. Yosemite.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. We got. Well, I'll get your opinion on this. I know Kyle more nerds out on this, but we have been bitching on this podcast about the permitting system with the parks, and we were fortunate enough to get permits for Half Dome. But what has it been like for you guys to get permits for the PCT, and then what is your opinion on the permitting system?
If you have an opinion.
If you have an opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we just got really lucky, honestly. So the PCT, they have 2 dates that you can get permits, and it's only for like a certain amount of time during that day that you can get them.
Wow.
And I forget when the first trial was, or I don't know what you want to call it, like the
Lottery.
first lottery was.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyle got the day that we're going out there this year, and I got a later day on the first one. And then in January, they had a second lottery. We just got lucky enough to both get it the same day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I understand the permits. The permits are, to protect the PCT, to protect an area from, overuse, and it's also, the permits are also used to sort of spread people out throughout the season on the trail. So, it was a little bit of a hassle. We definitely got lucky, but I do understand the permits, especially as the PCT and really all through hiking is getting more popular. So there are more and more people every year who want to go and hike it. So no, I definitely understand. So
yeah, I mean, we're not fans of it, but we understand the logic. Even though we're section hikers, we plan our section hikes around where we think people will not be.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to meet people out there, but I've been on the AT when it's super crowded, and
yes,
it can be really, because I started in the bubble, like when I started mine, so it was tough to find camping spots, and sometimes shelters were, a lot of people in the shelter, no room, and not the best places to set your tent up. So yeah, we're starting a little bit later, so I don't think we'll run into as many people.
Probably not. Yeah, you guys are starting next month in May.
Yep.
And even though it's getting more popular, there's not as many people out there. It's not like the AT.
Yeah, I feel like probably the AT is more popular, but the PCT is definitely
catching up.
It is for sure.
Yeah. Frank, I was thinking about this. Permits are pretty much, unless you're doing Himalayas, are exclusively a United States thing.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. I honestly don't know a lot about the permits, but I understand why the PCT does it, but
yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it when I was doing my hikes in Europe. There are no permits, like for the Tour de Mont Blanc, one of the most popular trail in Europe. No permits, but they are less campers. They don't set up their tents. There are some tent folks, but you have to call early and reserve these huts every day. So
there's like a de facto, even
permit.
Though there's not, because
exactly.
it's based on the huts.
Right, exactly. So I guess to claim your spot to sleep, there's your permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, unless you're hiking Everest.
Which, don't hike Everest.
No, I don't ever. No, I like my life. I want to.
Yes.
I don't blame you.
No, I wouldn't go to that extreme.
Yeah, I did a whole episode last summer. Tumbles was hiking in Europe, and I took the opportunity to research a little bit about Everest and did an episode on the disaster that was 2011 up there. Not good.
Yeah, I've watched some documentaries about it. I mean, kudos to the people who go and do it and actually summit it. That's an amazing accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Not something I would want to do ever.
No, so, I'm with you.
Awkward transition time. Tell us about your ultra marathon. So this is something that we have on our bucket lists. I don't know when it'll happen. It'll happen before we die. But where was it? How long? How did you train? And then did it help or hurt your hiking?
We tried an ultra. We failed.
Yes.
Oh, that's too bad. It's definitely a humbling experience. I learned that very quick. But my ultra was September 11th of last year. It was in Groton, Vermont.
Oh, wow.
And I believe it's like state-owned forest that they had it in. And let's see, it might have been, I think it was 26.5 miles, which what's a regular marathon? 26.2?
Yeah.
So that's why it's classified as an ultra.
Yep,
that's awesome.
It counts.
Yes.
Anything above a marathon.
Yeah, it does count, which is cool. And also, you throw mountains into the mix.
I was going to say, too. It's not like the Philadelphia Marathon where you're running on flat road for 26 miles.
We kind of chose the easiest marathon we could find.
Yeah, this was 5,000 foot elevation gain throughout the whole thing, which is pretty nuts especially for my first one ever. Yeah. I think I was pretty cocky, not gonna lie. I was too cocky for my own good. I think I didn't do enough training. That's what it came down to. I didn't spend enough time out on the trail training. I did more of road runs. I didn't do a whole lot of elevation. And I think the most miles I did before I went out there was like 16, which it was kind of tough for me because I really wanted to do this ultra, but I was working for a moving and storage company. So it's a lot of, I was working, the summer is our busiest time. So I was working a lot, and also it's very strenuous work.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to get out and train properly for this ultra. So that was the reason I wasn't fully prepared for it. And also it wasn't just a simple loop. It was kind of a very complicated map that I didn't study beforehand. I looked at it for maybe 10 minutes before I did it. So I ended up...
It's like the Barclays. You did your own Barclay marathon.
Yeah, sort of. I love that documentary about the Barclay Marathon.
I know, it's great.
I've watched it like multiple times. But so I ended up doing like 30 miles in total because I got turned around at one spot, and then at another spot it was a 3-mile like loop around a pond. Well, I did that loop twice.
Oh God.
Yeah.
You should have gotten automatically like the winner. You did the most miles.
Yeah. I know. I wish it worked that way. I think 27 people were running in the race, and I got 14th.
27?
Yeah.
That's so small.
Yeah, I finished. Well, there aren't a lot of people in Vermont.
Okay,
I was going to say,
fair enough.
Rotten Vermont, Tumbles.
Yeah.
So I want to interrupt you for a second. You said, you were cocky going into this. You're only cocky if you can't do it. And I watched Kyle's video. Until you got lost, weren't you like in second or third place, and weren't you like leading at some points?
I never led. There was this guy that was just on another level. I could tell from the beginning. I was like, this guy's gonna win it all. Like, I couldn't keep up with him. But to answer your question, yes, I was in second for like a good portion of the race.
Damn.
Maybe 10 miles of it.
Yeah.
But because of the lack of training, I got a knee injury from it and had to stop running at mile 20. So
Damn it.
I had to hike like 6 miles of it plus the extra loop around that pond. I also had to hike around. So I think I finished in, I think it was 6 hours 13, and going into
That's still
it,
pretty impressive.
oh, thank you. Appreciate that. I think going into it, my goal was to finish in, 5.5 hours. So I wasn't, with everything
We're far off.
Yeah, with everything that went wrong, I'd say I did pretty good. It was definitely a humbling experience. And, that's what happens when you do something for the first time, you just learn from your mistakes. And so I feel like my training has been a lot more thorough for the PCT. So yeah, that's kind of what the ultra taught. The funny thing is I signed up for 2 ultras. I think I signed up for the one in Groton, and then I had another one like a month later. That's kind of what I mean by I was cocky.
All right, gotcha.
Yeah, I signed up for another one a month later thinking I could do it, but
when your endorphins are just going crazy after finishing the first one, you're like, yes, we're ready for the second one. And then your joints start killing you.
Exactly. And like I said, I kind of geek out over the challenge of it. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, the endorphins were definitely, running. But
I mean, do you remember what our elevation was, Crank, for the half in Stowe? It was something silly. It was like 2,000 feet.
Yeah, it was between 2,000 and 3,000 feet, and it was a half marathon.
Yeah, it was horrible.
In Stowe at the Von Trapp. Yep.
Yeah, I did half of that as well. In preparation for the ultra that I did like 15 miles. Yeah, 15 miles of it.
Oh wow,
that's awesome. That's cool. What did you think of that course?
Oh,
it might be a different course, but
that's
what we did.
Yeah, that's a really cool course. I did get turned around because it wasn't. At the beginning, it was kind of confusing a little bit, and obviously it wasn't marked when I was doing it.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's no joke for sure.
I had nightmares afterwards.
Yeah, so you have that we call it the hiker hobble, but I guess it's like the running hobble. Afterwards, you can't walk right for a couple days. It's pretty intense.
It was. We were not ready. I mean, I know I certainly wasn't ready for the elevation. Trying to run it.
Yeah, the elevation. I also learned that I probably shouldn't have like my strong suit is going uphill, and I thought I could kill it on the uphills, but instead I just killed my knees.
Yeah, and hiking uphills and running uphills, 2 very different things.
Yes, and I found that out very quick. And going down's more tough for me.
Yes,
definitely hurts my knees a lot more. And
100%.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, tumbles is the exact opposite. So all of our hikes, I start out leading on the way out. If we're doing a summit, and then on the way back, I'm like a quarter mile behind, at least.
Yeah, everybody's different for sure.
So I don't know if it was your idea or Kyle's idea, but I loved the premise of the video that you guys did for that. And if you haven't watched it, dear listeners out there, go watch it. And the premise was you guys are trying to figure out if doing an ultra like that would help or hurt the hiking or make no impact. So what was your conclusion as the one who actually ran the thing?
Well, I think at the time it hurt the hiking because I hurt myself afterwards. But like I said, it also helped the hiking as I'm going into the PCT because I learned some valuable lessons out there, better ways to train. I learned more about strength training, ways to do leg strength training to help build those muscles so you won't get injured. So I feel like it actually helped my hiking more.
From what you learned.
Yeah, exactly what I learned out there.
Do you think you'll do another one?
Oh, for sure. I'm definitely doing another one.
Anything on the radar? Well,
Nothing
anything that you're interested in doing?
No, nothing on the radar right now.
Okay.
It's going to be busy for a couple months, Tumbles.
No, I was just seeing if there's anything on the list that he would like to
Yes,
do.
long term.
I'm going to be looking for some in Maine when I get back, definitely, because I feel like I love trail running just as much as I love hiking. You will definitely see me doing more ultra marathons.
Excellent.
Awesome.
You will be coming back to Maine after, or to the Northeast after your hike? Or are you going to globetrot with Kyle?
No, I'll be ending up back in Maine for a little bit. Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Cool. So, Crank, shall we do our most favorite question?
Yes. So we blatantly...
We rip off your friend.
Yes, we blatantly rip off. All right, this is my thing, and I don't care that Tumbles is like, what the fuck is this? I'm doing it anyway.
Oh,
no. So, any AT through hikers?
Will you stop with the fucking question? I'm kidding.
And I even forget the count now. What did you think of, if you even remember it? See, she's shaking her head. What did you think of Mount Race in Massachusetts, if you even remember it?
Honestly, I don't even remember it. Good. Not gonna lie.
Okay. I think Kyle said the same thing.
Yeah, yes, it's insignificant and stupid.
It all becomes some of it all just becomes a blur. When you hike that many miles. No, I don't remember Mount Race.
Good.
All right. So, okay, you made Tumbles happy. But, all right, so let's wrap this up. We blatantly rip off Kyle. I know you already shared one trail tale. Do you have another that you would like to share to close this out before you have to go run another 4 miles?
Sure. I'm going to try and pick one that maybe I haven't shared before.
All right.
Getting the inside scoop on the Rocks and Roots podcast.
Only here, folks.
So I'll tell you leading up to the event first. So in Virginia, right around Damascus, I got shin splints, which is if you've ever had shin splints, they're horrible. And that was my first experience with them. So I get to Damascus, and not gonna lie, I was literally in tears. And I had only hiked like 8 miles that day, but I was like, I've got to get off the trail for a little bit. And so luckily I have an uncle that lives in Virginia who wasn't very far. So I was able to take a Greyhound to his place, take a week off, and then he drove me back to Damascus. But when I got back on trail right off the bat, like a mile or two in, I'm going across this bridge, and I don't know, it's probably like 10 feet up in the air. And I thought I was being careful, thought I was being cautious. The bridge was super slippery, and I fell off the bridge.
Shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and there was a stream down below me, and it happened in like the blink of an eye. But all I remember is I closed my eyes and I turned my back towards the ground. So I'd like the backpack would brace the fall.
That's amazing that you were able to think of that like in midair.
Oh yeah, I know. I was just like, I'm pretty good at falling, honestly. Like like when I snowboard and stuff, like I'm able to get right back up on my board after I fall. So I guess that's just a strength of mine. But yeah, but my head literally landed like right between two rocks. Oh. And my hat flew off my head down the stream. I had to go retrieve it. But, it really opened my eyes. I was like, this whole time you've been complaining about your shin splints. And you know what? it could be a whole lot worse. You know, I could have been concussed. I could have, something really bad could have happened.
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
I was just very thankful in that moment. So it was a horrible moment at the time, but I definitely learned something from it to definitely don't take it for granted when you're out there because, somebody else has got it worse than you. So I guess that's my story.
Wow, that's crazy.
I tried.
Go on.
Sorry,
No, go on.
I tried to think of one that I haven't told like 5 times, and that one just came to mind. So,
I mean,
That's
how long did it
perfect.
take you to get back to your sorts and get back on trail?
oh, probably like I don't know, 5-10 minutes.
Oh,
I
just
just kind of
immediately, yeah.
well, I sat on the side of the trail for a minute and just kind of gathered myself because I was just thinking the whole time, well, that could have gone really bad, and like I just had to get off of the trail, and now I just fell off like a 10-foot bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of put things in perspective for me.
Wow, well, we're glad you're fine. And once again, it led the way to meeting friends and now going on this amazing trip coming up. Yeah, we're less than a month away until your trip now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah,
The nerves are starting to kick in.
You guys are going to be fine. It's the fear of the unknown, and as soon as that starts to become less unknown, you guys are going to be great, and we look forward to tuning in. Kyle told us about his video plans, so we look forward to living vicariously through you guys all summer.
Cool. Thank you guys for following along.
Oh,
yeah. No, it's greatly appreciated for sure.
Now, Flossy, do you have socials you would like to plug for yourself?
Sure.
All right.
I've got an Instagram, and it's Too Much Floss. So it's TOO_much_floss.
All right, Too Much Floss. And of course, follow Flossy and Kyle's adventures on the PCT on Kyle's YouTube. Kyle Hates Hiking.
I'm trying to get to 1,500 followers before I hit the trail. So I think I'm at 1,300 right now.
Listeners, go on right now onto Instagram and smash that like button.
Smash that follow button.
Yeah.
And the like button.
Yes.
Do it up.
All of the buttons. Smash them. Well, Flossy, it was absolutely a pleasure to chat with you. And like I told Kyle last week, good luck. You won't need it, but good luck anyway. And we look forward to chatting with you while you're on trail.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for having me on. This was really fun.
Our pleasure.
Yeah. All right, friends, you heard it all in the intro. This has been Cranky and Tubbles and Flossy, wishing you a good night. Bye.